grab your golden bling and all of your trophies and attire, because this is championship week on Blockbuster Pick-ems, and we're taking it fucking seriously. So
dropping the F-bomb
right off the bat.
Damn bat.
Really
that took us all by surprise.
We're explicit.
Awesome.
We're real. We're the fiercest fucking film competition on the internet.
I missed it.
You should just boop that out.
Blockbuster.
No, it's not
Pick-ems.
true. Don't even
All right,
ask.
I'm David. I'm
Hey,
one
Dave.
of your film gurus. I am not in the championship.
Far away,
Starting
as
off-
far away from the championship as one could be.
Probably one of the worst seasons.
Away.
No, in a while. The trophy got to my head in like more of a radioactive way than an
brain
ego.
cell killing.
To my right here is another film guru who did not make the championship, and we will be kind of guiding you through this whole thing tonight. Lauren
Mike.
Decker.
Oh,
Lauren
yeah.
Decker.
Oh, no, that's not true at all.
Hey.
And then we're getting into the championship round. So to the farthest right, one of the contenders, Michael Fisher.
Hey, everybody.
And a two-time champion, another contender,
To the
and
farthest,
well, we've all
right.
yes, exactly, to the left,
No, it's like all the way around the
Yeah.
world, right?
right.
Yeah.
And as many people would say, possibly the villain of the podcast.
I would.
I
You
wouldn't
know?
say possibly, definitely.
Definitely the villain card.
As I
He's
said
pulled
last
it.
week, as I said last
Throwing
week,
it
Mike
down.
and I are making a loser sandwich. We are on opposite ends of the
Scooch
table.
in, Matt. Scooch in, Matt.
Yeah, smush them up.
But
Smush
pretty
'em.
soon there will be 3 losers at the table. So we'll get to that.
I'm just relieved we don't have to go to Mike's corner this week. It's just really stuffy.
It
We
felt
should.
weird not
Really
writing. I don't even
sweaty.
know what movies are coming up this week.
There was like weird like tools in Mike's corner where like were you skinning animals? What were you doing with
couple.
all that stuff? Okay.
We
It was really weird
We
to
don't need to
see.
get into detail
Yeah.
of it, but
I don't know. I'm like borderline. You're
I
a
love
hunter
squirrels. I love
or like a
squirrels.
murderer. I don't know which one.
I
it
murder
was.
squirrels,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, that's what it is.
Yes.
That makes sense.
All right, so let's to give everybody an idea of what we're playing for. We're playing for the Blockbuster Pick'ems
The end all.
end all
Glory.
trophy, and
This is it, people.
real deep salt of the earth fans will have remembered that we've had the trophy artist on the podcast. We've had the trophy in 3 previous times. It was becoming a hazard, and the government is currently following it. It is just kind of blasting through space.
In orbit, low orbit, or is it actually just going on its
It's
way?
all confidential.
to
It is
Neptune?
If
it is
you-
technically my trophy for another few minutes,
If
but
you remember from last season, the government was keeping it underwater,
Right.
For some time, but
Disrupted
we
the
actually got a
ecosystem.
notice. Yeah, it was destroying the ecosystem, and the Great Barrier Reef, and now it's just the OK Barrier Reef.
It's not so great anymore.
That's great.
decent.
let me tell you, when I did have it, I was keeping it in my room, and I would wake up, and it would be just kind of standing over me, and I'd look down, and I'm like an old man all of a sudden,
it
and
was
my
hovering
room's
too,
made of
right? It was
ivory.
hovering.
Whoa,
It's crazy.
That is weird.
So we got a notice saying that they had to send it into space because that was the only safe place for it.
So whoever wins tonight will be able
Get to travel
to
to
eventually
space.
travel to space.
I'm cold.
But we've been competing for a few weeks, right, Dave?
Yes, it's been 10 weeks of competition.
10 solid competitive.
And now we're on
weeks.
the 11th week. Let me give you guys an idea of what the picks were from last week.
An idea, we're gonna read them to you.
So the movies that we were playing with, Mike had guessed Predator as his number 1 at $32.8 million. We also have The Nun, his second pick, which also was, let's just be real, was Matt's second pick. They shared the top two
First
picks.
2 picks were
$24.7 million. The third,
Thank you, Lauren.
A Simple Favor at $18.8 million was his guess. Crazy Rich Asians, also known as Cray, at 7.8. That was Mike's 4th pick. And White Boy Rick was his 5th at 7.1. Lauren, would you mind reading the picks that Matt and just shade that side?
So, number 1.
We're trying to keep. Oh, if you didn't know, they don't know who won. Obviously,
no
We haven't.
idea.
They don't know what the
we haven't
scores
looked at
are.
anything. You haven't looked at anything, right, man? No.
I did
not
the
it.
scores.
Not a single thing.
So I
So
gotta
we're
check
gonna
them
milk
after.
the poop out of
Make
this.
sure you got your calculators out.
it's a bad sign.
We had a third party check it because Lauren and I've had some issues this year with scoring, so we know exactly who won. We promise.
Number 1, The Predator at
these are Matt's.
30 points.
These are Matt's predictions. These are not what happened.
Oh man.
Number 2, The Nun. At 21, you thought you would guess the gross right on. 21.
Anybody
Dang, I got the
watching
second
now
one.
can.
Mike, I'm so sorry.
Anybody watching now, you can Google the.
Excuse me. And number 3, A Simple Favor. 11.9.
That's what I guessed.
White Boy Rick. At 8.1. Is that what you guessed, Matt?
I guess.
And
that.
number 5, Crazen.
Matt got 100 points.
I got 100 points. Never
Wow.
happened.
That's your
Never
pick.
happened.
Those are your.
7.8.
Those are
Sorry, I
your
almost said
picks,
7,
Matt.
8.9.
Whoa.
That's a total.
Huge one.
All right. Well, so those are the
we
scores.
surmised last week that the only difference that was really there was that we both had White Boy Rick and Crazy Rich Asians flip flops.
So I wonder what happened.
So we'll see what happens. I don't want to give too much away, so we won't give anything
I'm
away.
getting really nervous.
And
You're making me
instead-
really
we were
nervous.
pretty
Yes.
close with Predator and the Nun at their grosses. We were
Are
pretty
you
close,
getting
but
nervous, Mike?
I was way higher on A Simple Favor than you were. No, because it's so close. I know it's gonna be.
That's what makes me
it's
so
literally
nervous,
gonna
'cause it's
be
just
like
like,
5 points.
All right.
You
off.
were 11 million higher in your gross than Matt was.
Or was I?
Interesting.
Oh,
So-
because I went so high with.
Okay, so
with
if it
A
was
Simple
lower,
Favor.
then I win.
Yeah.
If we tied, we'd have
There,
to tie.
I don't think
All right,
there's
well,
a way we could.
There
unless
is,
someone
there
gets
there
is.
is,
Might have been
there
if
is,
someone
but
guessed
we'll
the
we'll
gross
get to
yeah.
it.
wrong
Yeah.
spot.
All right. So, anyways,
They're acting like I
what
don't know.
ended up happening last week was
David lost.
I
I got a
lost.
humiliation.
Dave, you lost.
I did.
Not only did
I
he
seemed
lose
to
last
be-
week, he won this.
I was in. I just want to mention
Yeah.
something because this is hubris and everything here on the Blockbuster Pick-ems show. You learn lessons, deep lessons. There was one week in which it was week 5 and I was second place in the league and I said, I wonder if I'll ever get a humiliation film this year. And then boom, 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 last place.
By the
So
way,
here we are.
second one.
I'm the last humiliation.
I don't think anybody realized the only humiliation film I did was only given to me because I lost the championship last year. So I, in fact, did not actually get
wow.
a humiliation film this
Well,
year.
actually,
you,
technically, Matt did
But
do
it
a
was
humiliation
from
film
last
this year.
and it was
because
for
you
the
did
first
Good job,
episode.
good
because you did
Lost.
lose. All right, so
but last year,
I
Lauren and I were going
I got
back
to
and
write
forth
I
thinking
got
each
to
other
watch a
movies.
movie. Lauren, what movie did you smack me with? Tell everybody your great idea.
In the theme of Jennifer Gardner for Peppermint, which who knows if that made it into the top 5, guys? Ooh,
minty fresh.
And
It
so
is
I
in
gave
there.
You what?
What?
9 Lives.
Oh, this is the
Now, Dave, tell
Kevin
us
Spacey
who,
movie.
Is it Kevin Spacey?
Kevin
who's in it?
Spacey.
Yes,
And he is what?
A cat.
great. He's great in it. I'll get into it, but basically,
Go.
the idea of the movie is it is essentially a family kids movie. It is called 9 Lives, and it opens with Kevin Spacey. It kind of, because of the fact that it's a character Kevin Spacey has played time and time again. Executive head of, big money corporation, doesn't have any time for his family kind of thing.
How dare he?
Typical.
So the movie itself is very kid oriented. So everything in his world or his company's world called Firebrand
Oh yeah.
Um,
they make golf balls
is
or
it
tires.
almost is like a both. They build buildings,
like
but
nice.
it's almost like
Fire
a Wiggles episode. Fire buildings, right? It's almost like they're all part of the Wiggles. Like all the costumes, everything about the
Is there any
building.
singing?
It's like very colorful and to keep kids in like, please kids, just we're giving your parents a plot for 10 minutes. Like there's tons of red stuff. Like, and it was very obvious. Like, so they
So he was
opened
the
the
villain.
he was, well, I'll tell you. He opens the door
Hang on, Matt.
and they're above one of his buildings in an airplane. And he's
Typical.
got his Firebrand jumpsuit.
And he's flying first class of private jet.
No, he's flying.
flying it.
He's about to jump out of this plane.
Oh, nice.
And his son, who is one of his assistants, is next to him, and they're working hard, and they're going through all of his work as if they're not even about to jump out of a plane. And in the
guy's
middle,
extreme.
I
in
like
the
to
middle,
keep myself distracted when I'm
right.
going to do something crazy.
in the middle of his ledger, his son's like, "You should call your wife." And he's like, "Why should I do that? Because she's your wife." And kind of like,
That makes
you don't
sense.
pay attention to your family, dude. Like you're just trying to.
His son said you should call your wife.
Yeah, you should call your wife, and you'll get
Mom.
it's
Call
different
Mom?
wives,
Okay.
and
Oh,
and I'll
Call
get
my
to that.
that wasn't a. indicated?
No, well, because this is the first scene in the movie, and I'm not there yet. So
Well,
I don't know yet. Let's pretend I don't know. So they're sitting there, and they're like, all right, well, I'm gonna jump. And he goes, son, like, why don't you jump with me? And his son, whose name's David, is like, no, Dad, I'm working. I don't need to jump. Kind of like, I'm scared. I'm not as intense as you, Dad. And then his dad jumps, and you
I will
realize
wait
that
for the plane to land. Thank you.
right, he's jumping into the press release of
building?
his building.
Okay.
They're not. It's not a
Made
ribbon
out of
cutting,
golf balls.
but they're doing a press
nice.
release telling them it's going to be how big it is and showing them, like the top of the roof. So he's on the roof, and Kevin Spacey's the man. He's good at everything except impressing his wife. So
Being a good dad.
right.
should
So
have called
he's
her.
on the news, and then it cuts to his daughter, and his daughter looks up to him and is like, I love Dad. Dad's on TV. And Jennifer Gardner's like, I'm worried because Dad doesn't really pay attention to us. So
This is Jennifer Gardner.
Jennifer
his
Gardner.
second wife?
this is his,
Not
it's
her
his second wife, second
daughter.
kid. Second wife, second
I
kid.
love Dad. I'm his wife.
you meet his ex-wife and his and her other daughter. And
How many kids does he have?
he's
7?
got 3 kids. Okay, chill out.
Sounded
He's got 3 kids, and
Mormonish.
they're 2 women.
Sorry.
So,
Jesus.
so the whole thing is that this ex-wife and Jennifer Gardner, the new wife, are very close to each other
That's weird.
because
Hey,
because
Chris,
they're
small
good
relationship
people.
with the family.
He's just too busy.
Do you remember
So
that time?
So he's good at finding like really good people to marry, but
Right.
not good with sticking
and
with
I
them.
think because it's a kids film, they don't like where they could this is obviously a storyline that Kevin likes, and it could be very dark and it could be very real and like divorce and all this stuff. But instead, it's just kind of like mommy and daddy fight and they don't see each other all the time.
So it seems like they're trying to put a lot of plot in this to like kind of appease an older
Kevin
audience.
Spacey. No. Kevin Spacey is like a
I
dick,
won't
if you guys
be in
don't
this
know.
movie.
And you can
Kevin
tell that
Spacey?
all
he wouldn't do anything,
all
right?
there's Kevin Spacey moments all over this. But let me get to the real asshole part of this movie in a second.
Does he die?
So, the first part of the movie, to be completely honest, it just kind of felt like a really bad, okay, not a bad, but like a really overdone kids movie with
Sure.
real actors, and then it kind of flips. But I'll get to that. So what happens is he finds out he has a board meeting to make sure that he nails the gift for his daughter for her birthday.
I
And-
did
That's
the
not a
same
waste
thing.
of company
And
funds.
he's also wasting a lot of time because he needs to get to the actual party. But he basically just wants to, this is his way to solve everything. He buys everybody's affection. So he's having a meeting to make sure that he nails it and can buy his daughter's affection.
And so he brings in a pony.
So like they all obviously like don't really want to help him because he's a hard to deal with kind of guy.
Well,
and-
and they
Sounds
should
like
be
it.
running a company, not
Right,
dealing with
and
a child's
and
president.
they're like,
Yeah.
did you
Society
ask your
buildings.
did you ask your daughter like what she wants? And he's like, fuck yeah, like she wants a cat, but I hate cats. And everybody's like
Well, did you get a cat?
really, you hate cats, Kevin? Come on, and you're never there
Is his name
anyway. And
Kevin?
all this stuff.
I always love those roles.
No,
where
it's
people are
like
named the same.
honestly, it's either he names himself Kevin, K-Pax, or Frank in like everything that he's in. Literally everything. Look it up. He's named Frank in like 8 movies. Just look it up. Anyway,
What is his name in this movie?
I think
Except
Frank, but I could be
for
wrong.
Usual
Actually,
Suspects,
to be completely
Kaiser
honest,
Sosa.
oh yeah, but he was anyways.
Kaiser is
But
German
until
for
he
Kevin.
got until he got to Kaiser, he was K-Pax. That was it's on the newspaper above it. K-Pax found. So like he goes to a pet store. Like fuck, I'll buy the cat.
I'm
and
never there anyway.
Here we go. We're about to get to the best part of the movie.
I thought he was gonna die.
Guess who walks out of the back? Guess who walks out of the back at Perkins Pet Emporium?
Jack Black.
Fucking Christopher Walken. Boom.
Christopher Walken.
Walks in and just makes this movie amazing.
Nice.
I'm a
does
cat.
that
I'm a
usually
cat
does.
whisperer.
often.
Okay, I'm a cat whisperer.
whisperer.
And so basically
You want a cat.
he
I love
he
cats.
he meets him, realizes like I don't like cats. Like I don't want to be like buying this cat. I have to. So he overpays for the cat. The cat goes home.
Overpays.
And so there's the best part of the whole movie. Kevin Spacey walks out with the cat in the little knit bag, and
In a knit
Christopher
bag?
Walken looks like this, like with his hair all up around to the other cats.
Like
And
the
then lightning
scientist.
goes off. Not raining. It is not raining anywhere in the movie. It's like the people
This is
that are
obviously
making
in
it.
Florida.
People that are making it were obviously having a lot of fun with Christopher Walken. So it starts like going like out of nowhere. There's all this lightning, and Christopher Walken goes, "All right, cats, let's get it on."
So he's basically the scientist from Click, right? But this time he's working with cats.
It's exactly what it was.
Nice.
It's exactly what it was. So we get to the next part is like he goes, he warns people like, don't take that phone call. You need to go to your party. You need to give the cat. He takes the phone call, and it's the guy who's trying to sell his company out from under his feet because he messed up. Instead, he promised Frank, or Kevin's character, he promised him the highest building in Chicago, but out of nowhere, like down the street, there's a building that's about to go up 1 or 2 stories more. So Kevin like
Typical.
has
Water
like the Donald
company.
Trump moment and goes, my building's not going to be the biggest, and he freaks out on his assistant. So his assistant brings him to the top. It's now actually raining because Christopher Walken willed it, and
Let's get it on.
He's like,
and
God.
he said, you know what? And I found out you were trying to sell my company to get rid of the problem you just made. Fuck you, you're fired. And then bing, bang, boom, there's an electric shock. This tower explodes.
Nice.
Kevin Spacey is now holding onto the cat, and they're hanging off the building. And then the assistant pushes him, like, fuck you, you're going to fire me, I'm going to take your business.
Isn't the assistant
His son?
No. A
Okay, this
different
isn't- that's what I was like,
assistant.
wow.
The son,
you're
we'll get to the son. And then so they go, the cat... The cat grabs onto the metal.
I'm sorry, the cat grabs?
The cat from outside. It's a super
with its
cat
opposable
with
thumbs
Christopher
and everything.
Say
Walken.
that
You're gonna
same
get to this. This cat is crazy. The
Literally
cat
about
holds on, swings itself back into the building.
Is this like
Nice
Garfield?
cat.
It's like the rock of cats.
Yes,
and
skyscraper
it
cat.
breaks through this room, and then they both like go from being like, wow, like we just made it, to just fucking unconscious, because that happens. And then they wake up, and there's this paramedic reviving
The cat.
and
Oh,
Kevin.
wait, really?
Kevin is now the cat.
Dead.
Well, what
It's-
happened to...
It's the Freaky Friday of
Yeah, but now so is
the
Kevin.
feline
So-
world.
Kevin now
the cat is now in Kevin, but since the cat created a coma situation, everybody buys it. Everybody thinks that Frank is in a coma and not talking. He's really a cat. And
Interesting.
And now
So
Frank's
is-
brain is in the cat's body.
Question. Is Frank, who is the cat, is he awake?
Yes.
So he's
now,
awake just
now we are
being
getting
like the
right.
cat.
So
Can
now
he
we're
talk?
getting
He
now
can't
we're getting
talk, 'cause
Kevin
cats can't talk.
Spacey. We're getting Kevin Spacey narrating what the cat is saying
Kind of like a look
for
talking.
the
kinda.
rest of the movie.
So-
he was in maybe 2-3
It's
scenes, and then
kinda-
the rest of it was just Jennifer Gardner acting with an imaginary cat.
It's like
No.
is it like a look who's talking kind of situation? Like they're not like
not
mouth
even
is
a home. No,
moving,
not
but it's
even a
like-
Homeward Bound.
just the-
No.
not
This
even
isn't
a
even a
Homeward
Homeward Bound
Bound
with the
kinda.
mouse. This is just genuinely like
Well,
cat sits up, shot of cat, and a ton of really bad cat noises. Like
But is the cat trying
crazy.
to assist? Is
so. Like
Cat
here's
now
the
is Frank.
here's the
He's trying
tragic
to-
right. And so
to-
here's not the tragedy. Sorry, excuse me. Here's the catch. Here's the conflict.
Here's the
So
cat.
so they
now we can hear what they're really thinking
right.
about him.
So the idea is that, all right, Frankie, like you have to be the cat for your family. Because here's the thing. Those doctors can't keep your body alive forever. Nice. Those doctors can't keep your body alive forever. So at one point, you're going to have to learn your lesson before you switch.
Who's telling him this? Or
This
that
is
Christopher
Christopher Walken.
Oh, did
so
he like?
God.
Christopher Walken is obviously part of this now.
Okay.
He's,
He
he's,
the
he's dropping
Freaky
the spell.
Friday.
He's the spiritual
So
guy.
for the rest of
Yeah.
the
He
movie,
made the
they're
remote.
kind of going through the motions of like he's learning that his family wasn't happy. He's learning that although they love him, they don't want him gone all the time. They were about to move out and she was going to divorce Frank.
Because sometimes you just need a new perspective on life.
So Frank,
specifically
yeah.
a cat's perspective.
Yes, exactly. So Frank has to learn to be more caring and loving. And before he gets to that point, he does a bunch of crazy shit that is like fun kids movie stuff that that
crashed into a window.
exactly. But it's Kevin
He fell in the
Spacey.
pie.
Did he die 8 times?
The only
before he
difference is
got
that
to
it's
the-
like what Kevin Spacey would do as a cat. So Kevin Spacey would probably go get drunk. So the cat goes and like gets into the whiskey cabinet, pours himself
what
really
I would
nice
do as a
whiskey
cat.
into a bowl, and then walks around and is like, "Hey man, I'm a cat. I never liked this rug and piggies on it." And it's like, all right, you're doing all the normal jokes. We get to the point further down the film, a lot further down the film, where Jennifer Garner is just completely sick of the cat. So she gets the cat whisperer, and the cat whisperer
It's Christopher Walken.
kind of talks to the cat, and the girl kind of gets in on it. Okay, like, this cat's my fucking dad. I get it, because like I'm a kid. I get it.
The kids always figure it out.
So now
their imagination is so wide.
Right. So now the kid, So now the kid, well, in Mrs. Doubtfire they see his dong, so it's completely different.
He doesn't see the.
And
the
Mrs.
cat's
Doubtfire, they
brain.
walk in on him peeing, and they're like, Mrs. Doubtfire has a penis. That's how they find him. Anyway,
Dad.
But it's San Francisco, so they weren't that surprised, right? Sorry.
So
Whoa,
I love that scene too, because they go back in the room, and he's like, we have to call the cops. I'm like, Mrs. Doubtfire has a penis.
Times have changed. Now we get everyone's bathroom.
Stranger danger, stranger danger.
All right, so how did the rest of Mrs. Doubtfire turn out?
Okay, so
Did we switch to Mrs. Doubtfire?
so we get to the point where
Cat whisperer, daughter.
the
knows
daughter
the
is kind of
dad.
trying to work with the cat, and at one point Christopher gave him a foreshadowing like, love is hard, love takes sacrifice, love this, love that, loves that.
Blah,
So
blah,
That's a
blah.
really
you're gonna,
great
you
Christopher
can
Walken
tell
impersonation.
Christopher Walken.
Love.
That's my best.
marriage.
Mallet.
I'm trying to get to it
Sorry.
to help you guys.
don't like this
Get through the
movie.
pain. So Jennifer Gardner, who does the best she can in this movie, but it was still bad.
Great job, Jen.
She's going to basically like unplug her husband because they don't
Should've
know
unplugged the cat.
how long this is going to last. The CEO who wants to get rid of Frank and his son and their power is like, come on, like, you got to do it. You know that your husband's going to die. You should do it now before the building opens. And it's like very obvious. So the son finds out that he's got 51% of the board. So he could have a board vote and just basically fire everybody. So it completely changes the game. And then when
Is
he...
that if Frank dies, he has 51%?
Right.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be a situation, and
so Frank dies, he's got majority rule, and then he fire
right.
everyone.
So
and take
they
control
try to
himself.
hide it, and then they threaten his son. And then you look at the son, and the son sees his dad's gonna get it pulled. He failed his dad. He always thought his dad wasn't proud of him because his dad was a dick, so he probably wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, his dad was covering his ass and giving him his fortune if he died, like all of it. And so he's like, "Oh man, I was just trying to make my dad proud, and I failed. I'm gonna have my first jump, and it's gonna be tonight, and it's gonna be off the building." And it's like, oh shit. So he sees his son's about to go kill himself. This is as a cat, and he
gnarly.
sees his wife's about to
Divorce
Move
him.
out of
to
the house.
divorce and
Pull the
unplug
plug.
him.
Yeah.
So he either can go with his daughter and work with his daughter to prove to the mom that he is a cat.
He's a cat.
Please don't kill me. Or he can go and save his son and attempt to save his son from jumping off a building. So he
By
chooses
jumping with him and catching the side of the building and swinging
so
him
really
through the
good
window.
at doing that. And then he'll become the
The
cat.
rock
and then
cat,
Frank will be
yeah.
in his son's
And then
body.
he's
So-
like, kid,
so
I
the
got a
villain-
new chance at you.
This is getting confusing.
the villain business guy is down the bottom, and he's welcome to my building. It's huge. It's a building. It's the biggest. It's huge. And he's
Willy
doing all
Wonka
the
came in?
exactly.
And Donald Trump.
and so his
Huge.
son was like, fuck, and he walks up to the top of the building, and the cat does the whole thing where the cat barely makes it, and he gets to the roof. And he goes, David! And the cat looks, and David doesn't see him, and David jumps. And so then the cat runs like this.
Is that how cats run?
Like
And
that.
he grabs a yellow cable, and he jumps, and he starts going
like
after.
Backdraft.
Is this
right.
cat animated? Is it a man in
it's
a cat?
animated.
It's all
animated.
CGI. It's
And so he jumps after his son,
Real.
and the cable is not
Not
enough.
attached to anything.
Not enough. So he's basically now a cat that's free falling through the air with his son. And as he gets closer to his son, it's revealed that his son is wearing a parachute from before.
Yo,
And when he
never took
said,
it off.
I'm going to take my jump and my jump's going to be tonight, he meant like a base jump. He was
Yeah.
going to base jump off the top of the building. So now Kevin's fucked because he's about to die. Like
Yeah, he
legitimately
has
die
no
in a cat's
parachute.
body. It's
Little
not just going to be
switcheroo.
like, oh, you're stuck in a cat's body. It's like, oh, you just jumped off an actual building without a parachute. So,
But he did it before.
right. So
I guess he got pushed.
so the son sees the cat and goes, Mr. Fuzzykins, and kind of laughs.
That's what I think when I'm base jumping off of a building.
Oh, look at that cat
my
just
cat.
jumped off its
And then the
building.
cat kind of points to the ground and says like,
Is this
like
Looney
pull
Tunes?
like pull the cord, dickhead, like you're about to die. And Dave's like, oh yeah, and he pulls the cord and he lands and the parachute lands on the bad guy and the bad guy's like this.
What
And
else?
Frank falls into the cement and it just a big white out and he wakes up in the hospital because he's learned his fucking lesson.
Oh, but
He
the
saved
cat
it
died.
before he hit the ground.
The cat's
Cat
body
has
is
8
fucking
more
dead.
lives.
Though. The
Yeah.
It's
cat
got 8
fucking
more
died.
lives.
Oh,
Mike.
sorry.
He knows how this works. So essentially,
The movie's called 911.
so essentially,
You got to remember.
everything works out in the end. Frank learns his lesson by becoming a cat. He wants to be better to his daughter. And the guy who was on the bottom, who is the villain, is now Christopher Walken's next cat in line. And he becomes a cat that kind of like
Oh.
I thought
has
you were
huge
gonna say he
eyes.
got stuck in the
Cats
parachute,
can
never
teach
made
us.
it out.
No,
Done.
no.
in there.
This is a
Fire
guy who
building
probably
done.
should have just
Yeah.
ended up in jail,
Never saw him again.
you know?
Yeah.
But
I think so.
did
I'm
not.
confused.
Attempted
Isn't Daniel
murder is a
Day-Lewis in
charge,
this
I
movie?
think.
Daniel Day-Lewis played the taxi.
I knew it.
He sat there in a metal
I
container
knew it.
and they CGI'd it as a taxi.
Well,
His
your
best role yet.
this review, I'm gonna give your review at least 3 boners. Good job.
Good.
Wow.
Kevin,
Like it's a
giving
triple
giving
boner
Kevin
rating.
Spacey boners is a real controversial
It is.
Me Too moment
Yeah,
thing
let's-
kind of thing,
let's,
Matt. Why don't you stay away from the boners tonight?
Well, I'm consenting.
All right. Well,
Is David? I think that's more creepy.
all right.
Creepy.
So
All right.
Sorry,
Nice job, Dave. Last
job, Dave.
humiliation film of
It was a
the
good one.
Season.
it was
Big
okay.
cats.
It was a good one.
9 lives.
Do
Happy
it.
I
Watch
gave it.
it. Do it.
Would you think it would have been better if they did dogs instead?
No, you know what? I did like the cat. I had to admit, like, I didn't mind parts of the movie. It was obviously horrible. Like, it wasn't great.
couldn't tell.
It was simple, you know. But what I would say is that these movies are kind of dangerous because as much as you want to make it seem like, look, everybody's mommy and daddy fights. This is one of those kids movies that it's like, say your parents don't pull through in the end. Like, look what Kevin and them, they got through everything. You guys can't get through your issues. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, it sets up like a unrealistic
Realistic,
situation that would never happen in real life. If these two people, this mom and dad, were real people in real life, they would probably have killed one another. They are not very good to each other. So it's like, it's kind of like, is this movie really good for us? Should we be making these movies for people?
No.
Probably.
Especially for
No.
younger kids.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Like, I could see that
Can we
there,
get a cat? It'll fix everything.
there are moments where I could see, like, I would hate to be a kid nowadays with, like, you know, at any moment I'm crying, someone could take a picture of me and put it on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, this movie doesn't have a whole lot to teach.
It was a great lesson.
All right. Well,
No, it wasn't.
I think we learned a lot.
it doesn't have a lot to
definitely
learn
not.
from. Well, I learned a lot. Okay, so-
Alright.
What these two men are waiting for, the real part of the show that we're waiting for, is the results, are the results. But before we can get to that, I would like to invite our two contenders to rise and raise their right hand.
Do not stand
Do
up.
should we stand? Are we gonna be out of
Should I
frame?
just sit
I
up
didn't.
more?
I didn't say stand. I said rise.
I was
That's.
punching. I was
It's
punching.
really.
I was.
It's really. However you want to take it.
I'm
right hand or left.
I'm standing up. You just can't see it.
I thought you were taller.
Matt's been talking about his boner ratings. That he might have
Matt's
already been
actually a
risen.
midget.
I have been standing
person.
since you
I'm
said
taller.
Christopher
lying
Walken.
down. Yeah.
I've been standing since you
Tiny
said
person.
Christopher
Eat
Walken.
my sausages. I love Christopher Walken. Okay.
Raise my right hand.
Raise your hand. Repeat after me.
Repeat
I.
after me.
I.
I
E.
E.
O.
O
U.
U.
These are vowels.
You forgot one.
And sometimes.
And
These are
sometimes
vowels.
A.
I think I in there, right?
Just repeat.
You got the A.
Just repeat.
Sometimes
Sorry.
K.
Sometimes.
Sometimes K if
Don't
it's
even
next to
joke.
an N.
Don't even joke.
That's kids. Next thing.
All right. I.
I.
The contender for said championship.
The contender for said championship. Did you say it though?
Yeah, the
sorry.
one that we're saying right now.
Did you say? Okay.
You just said it.
The said championship. Sorry.
What?
Finished.
Matt,
Finished.
you lose.
Finished.
Done.
Keep going.
Disqualified.
Promise
Promise
to
promise.
adhere
to adhere
to all of the responsibilities and honors
to all of the responsibilities and honors
that comes with being championship of Blockbuster Pick-ems.
that comes with being
championship.
championship
Champion.
Blockbuster
Blockbuster
Pick-ems.
Pick-ems. That was
It
weird.
makes sense. Those include
Those include
being really great,
being really great,
Those include
being better than the others,
being better than the others,
and knowing movie stuff.
and knowing movie stuff.
All right, thanks, guys. It's never changed.
You
That's
may-
always that's the same
always been
one
the-
that we do
I
every
really
time.
like that. I really feel like it
Just check.
embodies the
There's a lot of,
Blockbuster Pick-em
A lot of add-ins
spirit.
in there. I
you
feel
know?
like. Yeah.
So
for sure.
to summarize before we have Lauren read off what actually happened in the box office, and I have to just say it's been a wonderful season. Everybody's played really well except for me. Lauren especially, we have to give her a round of applause. Don't applaud on microphone, Matt. Look what happens.
And break your microphone.
I'll put the applause in. And thank everybody for watching up until this point and our new video
We do this
podcast.
for you guys.
Yes. Because I know basically
Thank
after
you
we
for
say
I'm talking
the
to you.
results that
You.
you've been waiting for
Yeah.
11 weeks, you're going to probably turn this shit off. Okay, so it is the championship round. Ding, ding, dong. And here we are.
Dong ding.
Now, Lauren, I would like you to just kind of read them off like we normally do. Winner number 1 to loser number 5.
so happy I have
They're obviously going to figure it out at one point. So let's milk it. Let's milk it
Alright.
as much as we can. So number 1 film, both of our contenders had put Predator. Matt, what did you put Predator at?
30.1 million.
Mike, what did you put Predator at?
8 million.
Lauren, number 1 film.
Crazy. Just kidding.
I was like, wow,
Oh,
That was fantastic.
It increased
The
200%.
anticipation, the suspense.
Number 1, The Predator
At
24.6. All
You're
right.
both too high on that one, huh?
Number
Yeah.
2.
So number 2, Mike, what did you put for your number 2?
I put The Nun at 24.7.
Oh no! So it's not gonna. I put mine at 21 even.
And so Matt, what did you put? What movie?
The Nun.
The Nun. So it was the same for the
Maybe
first
the
2 picks. Different.
The same. The first
Dollar
three
amounts.
pictures.
But I have no chance of getting the
All right.
gross.
Gross. Yeah.
Number 2, The Nun at 18.2.
Simple favor. I know I'm not going to get the gross of that either.
Yeah,
All right.
bro.
So A Simple Favor was the 3rd pick for Mike and Matt.
I prefer the simple flavor.
Matt, what was the price that you put A Simple Favor at?
11.9 million.
And then you just said yours. That's why I kind of...
18.8 is
All
what
right.
I put it at.
The number 3 film that actually came in at number 3 was...
A Simple Favor.
Oh wow.
16 even.
Wow.
coming in higher, which is interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other
much
2 being
higher.
lower. Okay,
Right.
Simple Favor kind of...
Here's where we
soaking
branch
up a
off,
load.
guys.
Yep.
Oh, boy,
All right,
here
so
we go.
it's going to get interesting. At number
Get
4,
sweaty.
the number 4 film. So to explain this,
sweating,
they
Mike.
have the same top 5 in a different order. The remaining films that are at play,
Each of them are at 30
and
points
we
right
have
now.
some other films that didn't make it into their predictions that were still in play, like Peppermint we talked about with Jennifer Gardner. We have the new
Unbroken.
independent film White Boy Rick, and then there was obviously our mad. I would say one of the biggest films that we actually had on the podcast that was a non-Marvel film, Crazy Rich Asians. That was also in there. Some of you might remember Christopher Robin, another big contender, stayed in and lingered around and is still lingering around the top 10. So, at number 4,
Mike, what did you put?
I put Crazy Rich Asians at 7.8.
what did you put,
I
Matt?
put White Boy Rick at 8.1.
The number 4 film, the last week of the
Drum
box
roll,
office.
please. White Boy Rick
At
at 8.6.
8.6.
I'm sorry,
Really
8.8. My bad. 8.8.
I was really close.
And
got
number
10.
5, Crazy Rich Asians at 8.6.
Ah.
Very
Which means
close.
for the
So Mike
third
almost
time
got the 10
ever.
points.
Which means for the third time ever, coming in at 50 points, our new champion, or
villain of
our
our show.
our redundant champion, the villain, Matthew Sanford. Now,
Thank you, Mike.
now,
What did White Boy Rick come in at?
8.8.
8.8. What did Crazy Rich Asians? 8.6. Oh wow.
you guys had, and I want to give
No, they
credit
could've
because
been switched it.
I went back to the other championships and kind of poured over the numbers. You guys had a pretty crazy first year where I don't even think you guys guessed the same.
Oh no, that's
4
when you
films.
Totally
Yeah, that's when I
lost
put
it.
that.
when
No, I won.
You won, and I put in La La Land.
Oh, that's
And
right,
so,
you ended up
didn't
with
and
it.
then
put,
we had another championship with
Oh, that's right. That's
We had another.
I was a week early on my prediction of La La Land.
Oh, right, because we were still getting used to how films said that they were nationwide and then they would come out in like 10 theaters. It's just like a
I
thing.
thought the increase would happen.
Matt is currently
Just
writing
have
instead
to-
of celebrating.
But now celebrating. It's
I
finally
just
hit
wanna
me.
point
3
out
for
that Matt always
4.
looks up predictions and then puts it based off of what other people say. And I don't know about you guys, but I actually just kind of do my moan math and
Your
make
moan math?
my moan math, my own math, and my own
Well,
percentages.
Okay. Well, I just like to get
it's-
ballpark. I don't
I
find
know, but that's
numbers
maybe
specifically.
why.
I'm just like, okay, this is what people and experts are thinking. And
Matt was the
I'm an
only
expert,
person this
so
season
So
to.
I'm just gonna copy what
I
they
should
say.
I should just be in cahoots with the community.
Well, Matt obviously follows the community and
3
takes
for 4.
averages. It's okay. We all
all got
work
our
off
own
of
way.
luck. But what I wanted to give this before we just completely hammer Matt. I was trying to give Matt Mike some credit because of all of the matchups that we've had, it was like down to a pick or down to this or that. This one was legitimately like they had the same 5 films. They put them in the same place. They were all off within
It
a
was very
million or
close.
so.
That was like, so close.
It was a
Off by
very
2 million,
close match.
200,000.
I would even say that there were results that switched multiple times
I'm sure.
in between estimates.
Well, when
like,
they're that close.
multiple times to the point where I thought Mike at one point was going to get like 75 points. So
Whoa.
it was all the way down to the wire, and we definitely had to go to some other people to make sure that we didn't hand Matt his 3rd championship and he was like off or some shit because that would hurt. But Matt, you
And
did
it
win
still
again,
hurts.
legitimately, and
Congratulations,
no
Matt. Good
comeback.
job.
No
That was
bull.
close. That
It
was
was
close.
number 1 from like season, or it's from like episode 4 on. Congratulations, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
Feels
are
really
our
good.
champion.
The first one that I lost to you in first season, that one hurt really bad because I left that other movie out completely.
Yeah,
This
and you
one-
put
this
La
one-
La Land in, didn't you?
I put La La Land. I didn't put that one with Bryan Cranston.
Not
and,
him.
Yeah, not him. The
I'll never
wedding
forget
one.
that film.
But but this one
kidding.
didn't
I
hurt as
probably
bad because it was so close.
It was very
and
close.
it could have gone either way. Especially that literally
With the
came down to
8.8
$200,000.
Yes, yeah.
Like that's insane.
Yeah.
That's
and
really cool.
and as much as I hate to lose, this was the least distance between first and last place for the first time. So I'm sure at home you guys did much better. I averaged about 3. Oh, Lauren, yeah, Lauren has them. We all average. I was looking like about
Matt
200 to
totaled
300 a season.
20 points for the season.
So it's a
Mike
Out of
totaled
really good
400.
one.
Out of
How
12
much I get?
weeks.
400.
400. Okay.
I got 360, but you guys also include your last week that we didn't have, and David
right.
had 310.
Yeah.
And
So-
even at those numbers, I'm still within 110. And the last couple of years were 150, 160 at the end apart, which is like multiple weeks of playing.
Well,
We're
we only
really
had,
bad
like,
at this
I think
game.
there were only a couple. There were only a couple weeks this season that like we got to. I think you had like a 25-point week. That
I
was
will
really
say,
bad
though,
week
I
for
will
you.
say, though,
Yeah.
there were,
You
yeah,
you had
I-
like a 15 or something.
well,
like that.
we have that every year, but the thing,
But we didn't have
the
as
true,
many of them this year. That's what I'm saying.
yes, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't get them when everybody's doing
Yeah.
well. I think
Gotten
that
better at this, I think.
I think that when we have a season again that's going to be back towards possibly like Academy Award season and everything, it'll be a complete mumbo jumbo mess again. I don't know. But scoring is much different during those times of year. And I think the only thing I was right on all season was that Labor Day wasn't going to be as big of a hit, but it doesn't win you games.
I was surprised at
Sadly.
the lack of money that a lot of kids movies were making this summer. I was
The
ex-
Anna
You did
Babies.
put a lot of them.
A lot of them I
Created
put
a new
really high
term
in
this year.
Yeah, Anna Babies. I was surprised that those movies weren't hit. It seemed like a lot more of the PG-13 and R movies were doing a lot better over the summer, as opposed to a lot of the kid movies.
Yeah, but we all want to see. It's like up the stakes. You know, we're all about that.
Well,
Here at
movies like
Blockbuster,
Deadpool
Pick-ems,
really
here
like,
in the world.
changed a lot of things that like our movies were more. It seems like they're more accepted.
What, say again?
Like that our movies are kind of more like, oh, those are.
Oh, you mean like R-rated?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like R
Not
movies.
our
like
movies.
Pirate
US?
movies. No,
Yeah.
pirate movies.
How do you know about my movies, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
but
that was like a really big thing when I was in like film class in college. It was like one of my teachers had said something about like a movie's intensity, like how it pushes the envelope, and I raised my hand and said, like, you know, over time they're gonna become more mild. Like a movie like Clockwork Orange isn't going to get the same controversy today as it did when it came out. And she was like, well, I don't know. People waving giant statue penises around is pretty offensive. And I was like, bad example, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean,
when it comes to
What about getting your head smashed with one?
Red Sparrow with Jennifer Lawrence had like a bunch of like sex scenes, rape scene kind of things and stuff
Penis
like
statues?
that, and that wasn't not penis statues,
Or like
but
Mother, right?
yeah, there's a lot of movies that like kind of going on what you said that are a lot more controversial, but like they didn't get nearly as the effect as
I stand by
other ones.
and I hate bringing up like because there's not a lot of people like him, and it's like such a misnomer nowadays with how movies are. I hate people that go. We talk about a lot of movies and we make fun of them, but we never say like you have to watch a shit sucky film. Like we'll say it after we watch it. We call it humiliation because every film in the end will have something that you can hold on to. Hopefully, even Tommy Wiseau and even people like
Even?
what's the guy who does his stuff in Vegas that you guys love?
Neil
Breen.
Neil Breen, yeah, like a Neil Breen. Like you're still gonna get something from that. You're not
in the end they put effort into it.
Exactly.
And
there's an artistry.
There are a lot of people that want to make films that don't have the ability to have that drive to actually want to go out and make something. So people like Neil Breen who they don't make the best product.
Right.
I love,
But at
his
least he's
movie,
made
but at
more
least he's
movies
doing-
than you.
And like that's the admirable thing about Tommy Wiseau is he did it.
Right.
Like, he
And
made a
I
movie,
think
whether how good or bad it is.
Just flipped the houses and then got $1 million.
Yeah, as much as we can make fun of him and Greg Sestero for making these crap films, like to some people, if you look at some of these big, we call it like tentpole productions where it's Disney and Fox and all these people are coming together.
no, it's just Disney, not
Well,
Fox
now
anymore.
it's just one. But when you have these productions that are huge and have marketing teams, not just a film crew, it's like, well, can all of your movies like not be the world is about to explode? Like how much further can we take it up the
That is taking it up.
External conflict ladder.
like Thanos? We get it. Thanos got rid of half the population, but like, what is the next bad guy gonna do? You guys have like 12 more movies lined up. Like, is the next bad guy gonna like eat Earth? Like, just eat it, and like we all have to live inside of his
change like
intestines.
crazy.
And like,
I mean,
If we're not already.
look at the Michael Keaton Batman movies and how like great those were. Even like I love the old Michael Keaton Batman movies.
Yeah.
They're
Oh, yeah.
great. And then all of a sudden it switches directors and Joel Schumacher comes in and completely destroys that franchise and it was dead for a long time. Who's to say that someone's going to come in with a Marvel movie and it just pushes it to a direction and all of a sudden everyone hates it now and it's completely gone. And that's the way especially America works is we work in what's cool
very
now.
sensationalist.
And we live in Los Angeles, so if it's not winning, we don't like it.
we don't like it here. All right.
Clippers suck.
Speaking about winning, Matt won. If you skip to the end to find out,
And LA hates the rest
we started
of us.
talking film again, so
Yeah.
sorry about
So
that. But
we might have turned it off at this point.
Yeah.
so Matt won. We're at the 42th minute.
Can we spend this money now?
We can. So we're gonna
It's been hard to
go.
sit here. We're going to Vegas.
We're gonna go get Vegas. We're gonna get some hard drugs.
And talk to Neil
You guys
Breen.
got the wrong stack.
We're
gonna go
actually
talk to
performing. We're
Neil
actually
Breen.
putting together a movie with Neil Breen called Triple Down.
I hope it is a
that's
non-penetrative
an
piece, so to speak. All right,
There is nudity. I get naked.
Only Neil Breen gets naked, actually. It's
the
in his
Breen
house.
Me
Stir.
and Neil Breen get naked.
All right. Before
Me and
Lauren
Breen.
takes
I just
off with
wasn't
all our
on
cats.
camera.
Actually,
I was
the movie's
naked.
called Me and Breen.
I was behind the camera naked. He was in front of the camera naked.
This has been Blockbuster Pick-ems. This has been another season, and frankly, go on YouTube.com and look at Blockbuster Pick-ems, and you'll find us because we're gonna be there forever.
That dice I rolled a 7.
Have a really great night.
Pack it up and
I
get
rolled
out
a
of here,
7
guys.
on that
Get
one.
out of here.
I rolled a 7 on that one. There's a dice that rolled a 7 on it.
I started throwing my stuff and packing it.